episode 6 of the Nobody Entertainment Podcast. My name is Nobody James, and this here, as usual, is Nobody John. How are you doing this week, John?
I'm doing just fine. I appreciate you asking. To be honest with you, cut myself up shaving with that safety razor. I let my hair grow out a little too long, and then was lazy, didn't trim it, and it just went to town like freaking Freddy Cougar, Jason. Freddy Cougar has a little, you know, magic fingers, and Jason has that machete. So it's
Yeah, I think
machete
you could
time.
probably safely go with either of them. I'm thinking Freddy Krueger would be the one that would get, I don't know, what, 99 cuts on your face over the course of just one razor session. It's pretty impressive, actually.
Probably.
I uh I made this call and all of a sudden he pops up with blood just dripping from his chin like he, I don't know, been making out with a lawnmower. So I don't know, it's pretty impressive, John.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, we're in the process of getting all worked up. We're trying to get out and get my family walking. And next week, actually, I woke up 2 days ago and I had the idea that we would take an impromptu family vacation. So we're actually going to go to the Badlands, to Mount Rushmore,
Okay.
and then over to Yellowstone National Park. So it was literally just a last minute idea, and we're going next Friday, actually. So
Did they ever finish that? Sorry to take you off subject, but when I was a youngling in the Jedi Academy, no, when my parents would go to feast, one time we went to South and North Dakota, and I remember one of the things that they were doing at the Mount Rushmore was there was another mountaintop they were going to put. I thought it was a Sioux on a horse. So now I'm gonna look it up. Sioux Indian. Oh, if I can spell Sioux. Sioux Indian.
Sioux.
Yeah, S-I. That's where I missed the I. Anyway,
They all
if
do.
if they
Because you're
had
racist.
phonics, motherfucker. um, uh, if they put that out there yet, is that something that they finished?
To my knowledge, no, but I honestly just generally don't know. So while you look that up, I don't know. We're pretty excited. I think it was just I'm just kind of fed up with the way things are going. Obviously we're locked indoors all the time, or just going to work, coming home, and that's kind of the extent of it. So we're looking for a nice family vacation. The kids' school starts uh, on September 2nd, I think that it is, which blows because they did pass the order in our city that they're going to be doing the school from home. So that'll be interesting, and we'll see how that's going to work out. As of right now, I think the plan is to have my wife stay at home and watch the children while they do their schooling online. But I just don't really know if that's going to work out. We'll just have to play with it and see.
Okay. Also, according to the Black Hills Badlands.com, beginning May 18th, 2020, Crazy Horse Memorial's hours of operation will be 8 a.m. through 8 p.m. through May 21st. Approximately 30 minutes after the laser light show. So apparently they have a laser light show. No, they have not finished it. Why the fuck does it take them so long?
Back
But
when you
it's
were a wee lad, so we're talking.
yeah, I knew about it back then. So it looks like it's actually supposed to be about Crazy Horse, but Lakota Sioux Warrior. So I knew it, but yeah, they haven't finished that shit.
Either way, it should be fun. We're gonna camp out 4 of the nights. One night in one of the state parks in South Dakota, and then we're gonna camp out 3 nights in Wyoming in Yellowstone. We got our campsites all booked up. We did have to go with 2 nights in a motel in the Badlands because they were all booked up on the campsites because it was such a last minute ordeal. But we'll see how it goes. We got to worry about getting eaten by bears, mountain lions, wolves, or rattlesnakes. But I think we'll probably live. I don't know. Maybe famous last words. Who knows?
Gotcha. Maybe live, probably. Who knows?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
What's going on in your world?
Well, you know, my wife got that electric car, and we charge on the 115 or 120, whatever you want to call it, which it takes it a little bit. And eventually, I'll probably get an electric vehicle as well. Probably get a longer range one that's 350 miles, 400 mile range. We're talking 2 to 3 years out. but I'd like to get a faster charger, a quicker charger. So I found one. Probably get it's called Juice Box. I forget the company it's from, but probably do a 48 amp. So been working through my mind how to get conduit and the power wires out there, and then have an electrician do the dangerous stuff, which I'm scared of. It's not necessarily any more dangerous than anything that I've ever done. I mean, I've climbed 500-foot towers, but I've never, I don't know. I'm nervous around the power wires. So I mean, I probably could do it, to be honest with you. And I've got insurance on the house and myself, so payday for the wife if she just gave me a little bit of confidence that I don't have. Anyway, so
Even
I've
the
been.
confidence just to watch you fry and then collect the money,
It's. I mean, dude, I could turn
as
off the
all good
main,
wives
just
do.
slap the thing in there, watch some YouTube videos. Anyway, so I burned up one drill. The chuck doesn't get tight anymore. And I burned up two metal bits because I had to go through two platforms of quarter-inch thick steel and just destroyed those. Destroyed my hand. Have calluses and blisters on my left hand from pushing up against it to try to get it enough torque when it was going down. So I bought a new drill, got a new drill bit, spent way more money, bought a bunch of inch conduit. It's going to go underneath my house, some of it underground, drilled into the side of my foundation, and already filled that back up with caulking and cement. And so I've got to do a couple more places of cement and build some stuff, but they're gonna push the wire through the conduit and then do the dangerous stuff on there. But it's gonna be 6'3", so pretty expensive thick wire. But that's so I can get faster charging, so I can get this tax credit before December 31st.
Sure.
Because they'll pay for 30% of the charger and then up to 1,000 of the total project. So that should cover most of the stuff. I still think I'm getting a little ripped off by the electrician, though, to be honest with you.
You've already got one picked out.
Well, he's the one that did the work previously for the HVAC, like that company did.
Mm-hmm.
So he gave me a quote, and it's a little high for what I want for the stuff that they're doing, but I don't know. I know that wire's not going to be cheap. I think it's going to be around $200 for the wire. I mean, I guess never mind. He's not really. Yeah.
You just convince yourself otherwise.
Yeah, because I didn't calculate the wire. Like, I don't know if you've ever looked up like 6'2" and 6'3" wire, but it's in the $200 range for good stuff. And so now I'm thinking, well, he probably gets it for, if it's gonna cost me $240, it probably cost him $220 or something like that. So now it doesn't seem such a bad deal. I'm getting ripped off by $200.
See, this is therapeutic. You got yourself relaxed. You were able to calm yourself down and really come to a good conclusion. So just by talking it out. Next thing you know, you feel like you're getting a good deal.
If I wanted to, I'd just run the wire myself and then, hey, Dad, come over here and help me not die. So
Just pry you off while grounded. And
you get a broom. You get a broom, plastic or wood, something that's very insulating, so you can just kind of pry my. Dude, 60 amps at 240 volts. I'm a dead man.
Which would be fun to watch if.
Couldn't do the podcast anymore because it'd be speech impediment.
We'll stream it live and just watch you fry.
No.
Yeah. Speaking of expensive, it's been 2 weeks or so since I've heard about this treadmill that I picked up. Right.
Yeah.
So
what's happening with that?
Decided to give them a call. They had sent me 2 parts. I got one part, still waiting on the second one. But after the 2 weeks, I gave them a call and I just said, hey, this is ridiculous. My first bill's actually coming up, and I'm not looking forward to paying this when I don't even have a working treadmill. Is there any way we can postpone? And then they looked into it and they said, no, we can't necessarily hold the bill off, but we'll give you a 10% discount, which equals a grand total of about a $260 discount. So I was like, okay, we'll start there. And they said it's probably going to be at least another 2 weeks. So give us a call back then and we'll go from there. So eventually I'll either have a working treadmill or I'll have a free treadmill because I'm just going to keep calling back and asking for discounts until this thing gets sorted out.
So they start paying you for the lump of steel and...
Yeah. See, that's the thing. And like I told them on the phone, alternatively, I say, hey, take this back, give me my money back, and I go find a different treadmill elsewhere. But to get the style that I want, the next step up is like a $35, maybe $4,000 treadmill, and that's not something I want to go to. Obviously, what I paid was still way higher than I wanted to pay. So, but I do want a working treadmill because I ran for the first time at the gym with my mask on because we are now requiring masks in our gyms.
Yeah.
It was the first couple miles wasn't too bad, but by that third mile, when the face mask is soaked and every time you breathe, it just suctions right to your face and makes you feel like you're getting waterboarded or something to those effects. It's just less than desirable. So
Have you decided to get a different treadmill? Maybe a better one?
no, I'm gonna sit on the one that I have. I'm currently running on my cheap treadmill that I still have. It's again
The
not ideal.
walkathon?
It's definitely a walker, but I'm I'm running on it. It's got a 14-inch belt, so you really have to pay attention to what you're doing. One wrong step will send you flying off. But we're gonna coast off of this and just wait. But like I said, one of these days I'll either have a free. It's a nice treadmill if it's working. Everything else about it was fantastic. It broke after 4 whole days. So if I repair it, then maybe I'll get another 4 days out of it and then go through the whole process again. At that point, I'll just say, hey,
I've
this
been
is
I've been running outdoors, no treadmill, because I paid for a year in advance the gym, but I don't use it because I don't know, pizza people and COVID, so I just don't want to use it. So I went yesterday. I was like, oh man, I didn't get to go on my walk because my wife was freaking out because there was a weird light on the car, the new car. Turned out to be just a low tire pressure.
it
So
did say tire pressure.
it had a symbol of a tire that is bowed out at the bottom and an exclamation point. And then if you hit the tap button a couple times, like it shows the image of the car and then gives you your PSI for each tires, and then like had the PSI and then a flashing bar underneath it. This is the tire you need to worry about. And so like I thought it was like something big, like brake fluid or whatever. Anyhow, so I get dressed. I don't go on my morning walk or run. So I get out there and that's what it is. So I get this. She's got the car came with like this little. It's an air pump, but it also has another tube on it that's for like fix a flat basically. It's cool. So I aired up all her tires, and that one I aired up too high, and then I backed it off, and then it was lower than the rest of them. But I was like, and the light's not gonna come on anymore, sweetie. Goodbye. But anyway, so I started to go running, and I was like, I'm gonna do 6 miles. Easily can do 6 miles. It was really cool, temperature wise outside. So I start running, and at like 2.5, 2 3/4, I hear barking, and I turn around real quick, and it's a big German Shepherd, and he is on me. So I take a swing at him, and he backs off. It's the back and forth, and I'm crouched down to give him less of a distance to get. And I'm taking swings. I'm telling him to get back, get back. I mean, like he
So
wants it.
now I know why you're bleeding in the face. You lied to
Man,
me.
that's from the shaving. No, so then his owner comes out, boxers, big old dude, no shirt, no pants. I can't hear what he's saying, because I'm listening to jams and stuff, and like that got my adrenaline pumping. So I only did 4.5, and then I walked the 2 miles back because I was just, I don't know, I felt drained after that encounter. But like, I'm just thankful that dogs bark. Like if it was a wolf, I'd probably be dead. Because wolves don't like bark at you before they bite. Dogs do. So I don't know. That was exciting yesterday. I guess it just
Well,
reminds me of. Go ahead.
you speak of this and you talk about the German Shepherd, and
I like German shepherds.
have you seen that picture of the kid that saved his sister from the German Shepherd?
Nope, they get tore up.
I actually just heard about this today. I'm going to try to share the screen here and let's see if you can see this picture. So give me 2 seconds. I know there was a way. One
Eeny,
second.
meeny, miny, mo. No, you can do
Oh,
it.
oh, it's right there. It's right
Yeah,
there.
there's that black button, share
All right,
screen.
I'm going to show this. There's a bunch of different pictures. It's not for the faint of heart, so a little bit of a graphic warning. But it's not like him torn open. He ended up um, he was playing at a friend's yard. A German Shepherd, which was the friend's dog, came out into the backyard. Which again, that was their dog, and the little boy was back there with his little sister. And I think he's 7 years old, but he ended up sheltering like his sister, like pushed his sister behind him, and like tried to fend off the dog. And the dog did this to him. And again, this is going to be pictures of his stitched up face with the swelling and stuff. So it's a little graphic, and I'm going to put it up now. Let me know if you see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a black screen. There you go. I mean, the view. I don't think they can't see it, but
No, it's not popping up on your screen.
no, I can see it in our video chat. But the viewers at home aren't going to see it. They're just going to have to look it up. If they want to look it
Or
up,
I'll
they can look it up.
put an image in
Oh
over the
yeah,
video. But
You could
it,
cut that in.
yeah, the kid got pretty messed up. So either way, he's been getting a lot of press right now because his family kind of reached out to try to get him into some good spirits, and he put like he's a big Marvel superhero fan, and I guess like Chris Evans,
Oh
who
yeah,
plays
yeah, I saw
Captain
that.
America,
You know,
Chris
that's
Hemsworth, Chris Pratt. All three of the Chris's reached out to him and said, "Hey, we're proud of you. You're a superhero and you're an Avenger." So it's really sweet, like a really sweet situation.
it does make me frustrated that people don't take care of their animals like they should. Like, if you have an animal
What?
that hasn't been trained,
This kid got his face chewed off, and you're just like, take care of the animal.
yeah, like they should take that dog away from those people because clearly they did not have the dog trained, nor were
Well,
they
the dog's
responsible.
got to
And
get put down.
yeah, I understand that, but I'm saying like those people should be barred from having another dog. They don't deserve to have another dog.
Hold on. I don't know that I agree with you in this scenario
Why not? They
because
couldn't train the dog, and if they knew that it was an aggressive dog, they did not prevent it from interacting with the kids.
again, if they knew, yes, but how do you know that? I mean, for instance,
So let's say that
hold
let's
on,
say the
my
okay.
family has a dog, and it's a relatively small dog. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's part dachshund, part something else, but
So it's gonna
still,
bite a kid.
it's a possibility.
Yeah, it is. It's a
But no
dachshund.
other kids come over to our house. So let's say the one time a kid comes over to our house and the dog gets bit, and all of a sudden we're bad people. Like,
Dog gets
what
bit.
kind of? I'm sorry, the kid gets bit. What kind of training are you required to do for a dog whenever you don't have guests on a regular basis? Like, to what extent are you required
You
to
should have
have
the
this
dog
animal?
trained to interact with other humans, to where it's not gonna bite them.
But how do you do that?
Take it to training
Yeah, they
classes.
interview with one person.
Huh?
They don't put a.
No, they bring in other people, other trainers or whatever.
I don't think so.
They
Maybe
do.
like one or two people at a time, but still, yeah, those are assertive people. For instance, again, we had a cocker spaniel whenever I was a child, and it was probably a 12-year-old cocker spaniel, and I don't know, I want a ballpark guess, 10 years old, sitting next to it, which I'd been on its level 1,000 times before, but just this one time in particular, it turned and bit me in the face. And again, cocker spaniels are medium to small dogs, but this dog was used to me. He just randomly bit me in the face. Animals are animals, and they do random acts uh, for random reasons. I don't think that we
I don't know. You did
necessarily.
something to that dog, man.
I really didn't.
So
This
I've
dog.
and I'll knock on wood. My desk is wood, by the way. I've never been bitten by a dog. I've been attacked by dogs. Like dogs have charged me. Like on the roads when I'm going running and stuff like that. I've even had the like I've even like went over to one of the chefs when I used to work at a restaurant. His house and his dog was very protective of his grandkids, and like this dog would have destroyed me. It was a Rottweiler, and it did not like me being near the kids or anything like that. Even though like he had introduced me to the dog and stuff like that, but this dog was it eyeballed me all the time. I was very nervous around this dog, which it probably picked up on as well. But like I've never been bitten by a dog, but I don't torment dogs. I stand my ground when I get chased by dogs. I don't run away. The only time I've ever thrown rocks at a dog is when small dogs are the most. I don't. Man, they
I
try to
like
go.
that you're straight throwing rocks at dogs.
Yeah, and small dogs, yeah, when you're running and stuff like that, they just don't give up and they're just like little small ankle biters and they're going to be the worst, you know.
I've never been chased by a dog. I've never actually
Let me
ran
take
into
you
that
running.
situation.
Let me take you running.
I've ran with you and never had any dog incidents. But hey, I'm sure it happens. I'm not saying it doesn't. But I don't necessarily sit there and blame. In that instance, maybe if a dog's chasing you as a runner, then that dog clearly needs to be on a leash or caged up or inside the house or in the backyard in a fence or something along those lines.
Well,
But if
I
I'm
think
just
it's the owner's responsibility to show like this is the territory that you can patrol. Like if you have a dog and the dog is a guard dog, The dog needs to know its territory. It needs to know that it's not out in the road. If
Sure,
I'm if
but in
I'm if I'm
this
running by
instance,
that dog,
this child specifically that got his face bit
was in
so
its
badly that
territory.
that was in his backyard,
Yep.
and that dog just didn't recognize those people. And in that instance, maybe that person or that dog thought he was protecting that little girl because
Yeah,
he
the dogs
sees.
could. I mean, like the kids could have been playing, and he like, kids scream and stuff like that, and that dog went into defensive mode, and I get it.
Sure,
But
I
in
think I
that
think as a
case, the owner should not have had the dog out there.
I think as a parent, I do blame the other owners. Like I blame the other parents that
Yeah.
own that dog because they were under their care at that time. So yes, I don't not going to go over to a dog and say, "Why would you do that to my kid?" I'm going to say, "Why would you let that dog near my child?" It's like,
Yep.
"Whoa, that dog's never attacked anybody." Well, now you have to suffer the consequences. We're talking medical bills. We're talking, you know, therapy sessions. We're talking, um, you know, the loss of the dog. But I don't. I think wild animals, or I'm sorry, even domesticated animals, sometimes do wild acts, and I don't think you necessarily just blame the people.
I blame them. Dog
I
shouldn't have
think
been there, and I don't think that they should have another dog.
I don't know. I
They
don't
messed
have
up.
any.
They messed up, man. That's. I mean, it's like, okay, hey, you
I
can't
don't
say
care
like they
who
did it
owns it.
intentionally.
I'm saying. I'm saying it could happen to anybody at any time.
Yeah,
I don't
but
think.
I mean, they messed up, so they don't get a dog.
Yeah, I don't think that's the biggest loss in the world, though. I
Yeah.
like if my dog were to go away tomorrow, I wouldn't sit here and cry about it. I'd be like,
Yeah.
okay,
Well, I mean, yeah, but that's just how it goes. So no dog for them.
like my children have a tendency to play with my dog, but they get a little too riled up and they'll like lay on top of her, and then she'll kind of start snipping at them. And again, I think she would still be called like a small medium dog,
Mm-hmm.
uh, or no, vice versa. She's a medium small dog. Sorry, so she's not huge. She's probably, I want to say, close to 20 pounds, but maybe not even that. But
I got a
either way,
cat close to that size.
cats do damage too, dude. If you like pass out in your house one day, that thing will eat your face. So what? They're gonna take your cat away and never let you own a cat again?
I got 4 cats. I'd be devoured.
Yeah. What are you gonna do then, John?
My cats would never eat me
I
unless
don't,
they were
dude. My face has
starving.
been trying to shave it off for the last 5 years.
They taste the blood, Get some all riled up.
Oh man. Well, I'm gonna say that that's enough with our lives. Have you been doing anything that's been entertaining you this week, John?
Yeah. So since we played a little bit of the hunt last week,
We did.
and so I
Just
got that. I started playing that a little bit, not as aggressively as I used to. There's certain aspects of it that are fun. They still have it to where you interact with humans a little too soon, so I have to start being a lot more cautious than I was used to.
so to
But
give just a little bit of a background, I'm going to pull this up. We're talking about a game called Hunt Showdown that was released on August 27th of 2019. We got it on sale because right now I think it's technically, um, I don't remember. It got released from early access. I don't remember what, like 6 maybe 8 months ago at this point. It wasn't a long time ago. Um, but we picked it up for something like $20 at the time, I think. But it
yeah,
is a $40 game regularly, and this is, I don't know what you would call it. Maybe like an asymmetrical multiplayer game. You have upwards of, I think, 4 teams of 3. I think is the max player capacity, right?
mm-hmm.
And they get dropped into a sandbox, and inside that sandbox you have either 1 or 2 bosses, which are just big monsters that you have to find clues for, and then you can hunt them down, and you can kill the main boss, but then you have to extract the, what is it called that you get from the dead
Well,
boss?
you get the bounties. You get the bounties.
That's right.
Something that's saying, "Hey, you took out or
Right.
acquired said bounty," and then you got to get the heck out of Dodge.
So yeah, you have to get the bounty after you kill the boss, and then you can leave the map with it, but you have to escape to an extraction point. All the while, the other 3 teams are hunting you as well. So it is frenzied and it's fast in some circumstances, but it's extremely stressful. So it does require a lot of hiding, a lot of hunting other players. You do get a lot more points if you take out other players, but you can also run through and kill zombies, hellhounds, emulters, which are an exploding enemy, um, among various other zombies and things of the sort. So that's just a little bit of a background for the people. Not that anybody or considering nobody watches this, but that's just a little background on what Hunt Showdown is. But you and I have probably put a grand total of what 100 hours into this game at this point.
I put some time. Yeah.
I'd say combined like about 100. I think I've probably put about 30 or 40 in, and you probably about 60 or so.
Yeah.
But I'd say the majority of that was put in together. We've done a lot of the multiplayer.
We have done. And by the way, they have those new a single player mode where you get stuff. The first one, you're in like a sniper's roost, and you're supposed to be taking out some zombies or whatever, and they're challenges, and it's pretty good. I can't get the hard challenge for the sniper one. I've got the medium. I It's so hard to get the hard one on that challenge. You try the challenges out, is what I'm saying, James. Get your beak wet.
I haven't really played the single player at all. I think as far as the game itself goes, I give it a lot more respect for its setting and its slower pace. Like reloading your weapons is very slow. Um, but I think I've jumped into a couple of single player missions, and overall, it's just not. I guess it's not as stressful when I don't feel like there's as many. I don't know reasons to play. I'm not
You should
trying to
play the
keep you
Springwell
alive
one.
or trying not to get you killed.
Yeah.
So if it's
Um.
just me, a little more run and gun, and I'm like, oh, okay, I just kind of throw caution to the wind.
Hey, they did say post update 142 and 143. They're gonna have a 2D mission replay, which is something that I requested back in the day, and I'm glad that other people also requested it. So basically, you have the map, and then after your gameplay, you can see where everybody went. And I'm hoping this would be really cool if you could see the other hunters and your interactions with them on the map. Like, how close did you get to interacting with another member of another team and stuff like that? That would be really cool. So that's coming out here pretty soon. 2D mission replay. That would be pretty freaking cool. I'm pretty excited about that actually. So I'm back on that tick a little bit. I was playing it before we got on this call, and I died way too easily on a couple of things.
Sure.
But
We also we jumped into a game together, not together, but we both played it simultaneously. That was the same. Was that the same night? No, 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 no. This was last Thursday. Um, we jumped into Chex Quest, the remake. You
yeah.
played all the way through that. Did you end up beating that game?
Oh yeah, yeah. Took
I
took
know you. I know you died right at the last boss, and you had to play through the whole thing again.
well just that one level, yes. But yeah, I did die at the boss. It was my ego was definitely taken a little notch down because you're like, okay, I beat him, going to bed, see you, John. I'm like, but I haven't beat him. Now I gotta do it alone.
Yeah, I probably should have stayed on for you, but I mean, I would have just been sitting there watching you die, and that's not fun to do. Overall, though, Chex Quest, I guess I'll ask you: do you think it held up? Still going to rank it one of your top games of all time?
The new one, no. So it's a good game. I think it's a good game. I thought it was too fast. I thought it was too short. It didn't have some of the cool aspects that the original did. I have not played the multiplayer, and I haven't played with any of the other characters. I was able to unlock the multiplayer because I did buy a bag of Chex Mix and did enter my code in. I did not go around and get. So that's one thing. They don't have like a. If I was a POS, what I could do is like go take pictures of the bags and the codes on there and interject them, but I
Is that
or
how it
input
works?
them.
Could you literally just take pictures of the exterior? It's not even an interior code.
No, it's on the back of the bag.
That's ridiculous.
Well, I'm just saying, James, you need to get some multiplayer on. And the code is only usable once, so you could really foobar people.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but how many people have actually downloaded that game? Do you think? I mean, after the bags of checks uh, get sold, I bet you that game still only gets maybe 10,000 downloads,
Yeah,
which is nothing for.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
it's a free game.
We could play the original, man. I'm just saying.
Oh man, woo! That would be a blast. Yeah, it's only took us an hour to beat the entire game. It is a Doom clone, and you start out with a spoon. You can upgrade to a fork, which is basically like a chainsaw.
No,
Um,
you start off with the Zorcher.
I think you had to pick it up. I thought you just started out with the spoon. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
Yeah.
It was so long ago, and it really just did not leave a lasting impression. I'd say overall, again, for a free 1 hour experience, it was a lot of fun. But I'm not going to sit here and try to say it was worth any more than that.
Yeah, no, the original has definitely a lot more fonder memories and it was a lot more difficult, especially with some of the map layouts. This
I'm
one,
thinking
you could
it was
easily run and
probably
gun it.
equally. I think it was probably equally um, nostalgic, and then at the same time more difficult because of your age. I bet if you popped that sucker in and played through it right now, you would realize. I realized very quickly on spoilers for Chex Quest that you could take your spoon out, walk right up into an enemy, and as long as he's here and you're here, he can't hurt you, but you can still stab him with your spoon and kill him. So if you stand this far away, he can hurt you. But if you get right up in his face, so the only time you're ever really in danger is when you have two enemies because you can face one and the other one can still hit you from the side. So
Yeah, that
it's
wasn't in the first one. And in the first one, you couldn't use your mouse.
what?
It was WASD, man. And then control was fire, space was jump. That's how old, like the original Doom, you didn't have a mouse. There was no aiming up or down.
Okay, I remember that. It's been a long time because yeah, the last time I played Doom was probably on like the Sega Genesis or
Yeah,
something like
I'm,
that.
I'm talking about OG stuff. So like it was a lot more different. The maps were different as well. So the maps are not the same in this new Chex Quest HD. So
I guess we'll have to take it to the back and see if the old one holds up then, John. See if it really sticks the landing. A couple of things that have been entertaining me this week, if I may. Um, I'll do this real quick one. It's a game called Fall Guys. I talked to you about it a little bit.
mm-hmm.
Just released on Steam and PS4 on this past Tuesday, and it's pretty simple. It's a multiplayer party game, basically. It starts out with 60 people loaded into a lobby, and then they do a series of mini games. I think it's four mini games, starting out with 60 players, and then half of them are eliminated. Goes down to 30. They do a second mini game, and they range from races to essentially soccer to hungry hippos, basically. So there's a nice mix of the games that come up in the rotation. Occasionally you're playing as a team, other times you're just doing simple races and you have to rush your way through and try to make it to the end, and then by the end of the four rounds you get one winner specifically. Um, so with that being said, it was released for free on the PlayStation Plus and I paid nothing for it. On Steam it's $20, but I will say I think that the price of admission is a little too high at $20. I think for the amount of fun, and again, I haven't played it with any friends. I've only done it with randoms on the PlayStation Network. But for the amount of fun that you would have with just random people, not really having chat or communication, and the just sheer like zaniness and craziness that ensues after or during each round, I think it is a good time, but I don't know that I would say buying it for $20 right now is the best rate. I talked to one of our friends, Stephen, and he actually brought it up to me, and I said, I'd be willing to pick it up on Steam. I just don't know if I'd pay $20. He's like, no, it's only $10. And then I looked it up when I got home, and then sure enough, it's 20. For $10, I think it's going to be the appropriate price point, and I think it'd be really fun for us all to jump into. Not that the extra $10 really breaks the bank, but it does seem like the kind of game that we would delve into for about 2 or so hours, um, and then get tired of it. I think a game like Duck Game or Ultimate Chicken Horse has more legs for a party game than what this game seems to have.
Doesn't he not play party games?
He doesn't like party games, so I thought it was kind of weird that he brought it up. But it
Hmm.
is what it is, right? Um, to go into another really quick one, as I talked about last week, just briefly, I watched with my children The Amazing Spider-Man 1, but I did bring them in to watch The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And then we also recently watched Spider-Man Far From Home. So if I could
I haven't seen that
just
one yet. No spoilers.
Far From Home, okay, I won't give you any spoilers. Are you ever going to watch it?
Sure. What's it on? I could probably watch it. I mean, yeah, what's it on?
What I'll say for sure is it is on
Disney?
Stars. No, I don't believe the Spider-Man movies are ever going to be on Disney Plus because they are owned by Sony. Even the Far From Home and Homecoming are Sony-owned properties. They're just invested in by Disney so that they could bring the Spider-Man into the Avengers universe, which I'm glad that they made that merger. But if I were to rate on our scale, garbage, blank, good, great, or gaga, I would say for me, The Amazing Spider-Man, and I talked about this last week a little bit, is a good movie. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is also a good movie, but watching it with children, I would say it's just a little too long. And it focuses on a little bit too much of the relationship aspect. I will say the villains are interesting and kind of fun, if not just a little over the top and goofy, but I think it does take some of the zaniness and do an interesting spin on it. But going into the newer ones, the Homecoming and the Far From Home, the villain, which do you know what the villain is in Far From Home, or who the villain is?
No.
Do you care if I spoil who the villain is, even though it's in all the
Spill the
trailers?
beans, man.
Okay, it's just Mysterio. Do you know anything about the Spider-Man universe?
No. There's a gator guy. I mean, like,
Uh,
I'll be
the
honest with you,
lizard.
my
The lizard.
Doctor Octopus.
That's one. Yep.
That was my favorite.
I
Out of
want
the
you to name.
Spider-Man universe, that's my guy. That's my go-to
I
dude.
want you to name 10 Spider-Man villains right now. Go.
Venom,
One,
the Sandman,
two.
Gator Man.
That's not the name of it, so you don't. It doesn't count.
What?
No.
Okay,
If you say
Doctor
Gator Man,
Octopus.
yeah, that's three. You can't say Gator Man because you have um, in Batman you have Croc, so he's the Gator Man. So Killer Croc in the Batman universe.
Okay, fine.
So you
But
got three. You got seven more.
seven. How am I supposed to do so many?
I said
S-
10. There's
All
like
right,
900.
Silver Surfer.
No. He is in the Marvel universe, but he's not necessarily a Spider-Man villain. Also, I'm pretty
Um. Okay,
primarily a good.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man, Spider-Man.
There is a Silver something that is in the Spider-Man universe, and I will count that as a villain, even though it's not really.
What about when the
It's a
parasite infects Spider-Man?
That's still Venom. That is the symbiote suit, and that is not a villain. You're really failing at this. I expected more out of you.
That's all. That's all I got for Spider-Man. Then I
I've
don't.
said three other villains just in this conversation.
Yeah, you said Mysterio,
Oh, so
which
there's one.
I don't know who that is, so it
Doesn't
doesn't.
matter. You know it exists. That's four. And I even told you the name of Croc Guy or whatever you said.
All of the bad guys that Spider-Man tries to deal with. Like we're talking
Okay.
about the average thugs. We're talking about Jeffrey Jefferson on
Jeffrey
Second
Jeff.
Street, who
Yeah,
tried
you're
to
talking.
rob that old lady of his purse, and then she was like, and then Spider-Man like, oh, I fear something's coming.
That's not
Um,
happening. Okay, so I'm gonna give.
Hitler. Hitler's one of them.
No, that's Captain America.
No,
Um,
wait, no. Didn't Spider-Man go back in time to go try to kick some Hitler ass?
I'm not gonna say he never did, but I'm gonna say that
Fine. How
that's
about this? Soviet Union.
okay. So I'm gonna give you
Weren't there in
five.
the comic books like where he went to go fight some freaking communists?
No, not in the Spider-Man world. No.
Oh, I'm getting on the internet now.
Again, I think it might have happened, but it's not one of his regular foes. You're just reaching now.
That's
You're like
because no, hold
all
on.
of the
It's not your
Nazis.
regular foes because the Soviet Union collapsed. Okay.
Every Nazi. No, I'll give you five surface level villains, and then I'll give you five medium to unknown villains.
All right.
Okay.
Give me some good
I'll,
ones.
I'll give you this. I'll give you the surface level ones, and I'll go with ones that you didn't name. Okay. The Scorpion, the Rhino, Hydro Man. We'll go with the Vulture, and then we'll go with.
Oh, the Green Goblin, dude.
Okay, I'll go with Green Goblin. I'll take
We
that one.
gotta
So
go with the Gobs. And then what about the Hobgoblin? Do we count him or can we just?
now you need to stop now because I'm going to give you five of the lesser known. Okay, so we'll go with the Beetle. We're going to go with Chameleon. We'll go with crap. I can't count that one. I think his name is. Look it up. The Human Spot or just Spot or it's blank. I'm blanking there. I'll come back to that. We'll go with Tombstone. That's a good one. Shocker, which I think that is a mainstream one, but not one that you considered.
Yeah, that's
Um,
the one that like the
Shocker.
energy stuff,
Yep.
right?
It's energy stuff. Um, I'm trying to think. Underground. I want to say the Puma I'm gonna look that one up just to make sure it is actually one. The
You know, it's
Puma.
just a dude from Uganda or Waganda or whatever.
Oh no,
Wakanda.
I am correct. It is just Puma.
Yeah, there's
Let me go.
also the Spot. The Spot is literally just the Spot.
And he's actually pretty cool because he's got a white suit with black spots all over it. He could take those black spots off and he can throw them, and they're like dimensions, like different or portals to different places. So he would like throw them at Spider-Man, and then he'd like punch through his own chest, and his hand would come out the other spot and like punch him in the face. So it's pretty cool because so he could like throw all of his spots out, and then he could jump through them, and he
Yeah,
knows
what
where
is he
they.
like? Quantum Man? Is that what he is?
Sure, sure.
Okay.
So, with all of that Spider-Man tangent being said, we watched Spider-Man: Far From Home, and it does have Mysterio in it. I would say, as far as the villain goes, I think he's actually a really, really good villain for the Spider-Man universe, and also implemented perfectly into a Spider-Man movie. Again, I think the movie is just a little bit too long, and then they rely on a little bit too much animation, which I know that all the Spider-Man movies do, and I don't know how you do practical effects for a character that's swinging through the air in New York or whatever the case is. But the one big negative I'll say, or there are two specific amazing sequences utilizing Mysterio's powers, and it's frustrating to me because it transitions pretty heavily into CGI, like an entirely CGI world that's supposed to be implemented as the real world, but it looks almost cartoonish or Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, animation,
That's sad.
and it transitions right back into the real world. So watching it as a segment, I think, is really, really cool. But then watching the movie as a whole, it feels like, okay, this isn't really happening. Okay, this isn't really happening. But in Spider-Man's eyes, it really is happening. So it is kind of hard to disassociate that, which does knock it down a little bit for me. So again, if I had to take Far From Home specifically, I think it would make it fall just into the good category, which I recognize that I'm a Spider-Man fanboy, but having watched these specific three Spider-Man and Batman are my two favorite superheroes,
Mm-hmm.
so I could go
Yeah.
into all of their rogues category or gallery. But I just I think I'm still waiting for just that amazing Spider-Man movie. I'm gonna say that Homecoming probably is my favorite out of all of the
They
no,
redid the series like what, 3 times?
three times, yeah. I'm going
Haven't
with
got it right yet, have they?
Into the Spider Verse, so four times technically. Have you seen Spider Man Into the Spider Verse?
No.
It is amazing. It is literally amazing. It's very cartoony because it is an animated movie, but they include just like an insane roster. They have like the Kingpin, the Scorpion. Um, they do they do the Green Goblin? Why am I blanking on it? They do Doctor Octopus, but it's a different incarnation. They literally, you should watch it. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's fantastic. Into the Spider Verse is absolutely awesome.
You know what I started picking up and watching again, just, having dinner or whatever with the lady? The
Porn.
Toast of London.
I don't even know what that is.
Dude, it's a British comedy sitcom thing. It is hilarious. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's dry and it's wonderful. I love that actor. He's a pretty cool guy. In fact, I don't. I'll get the name for it. But the Toast of London. Great show. Watch it. Not for kids.
Talk about Matt Berry.
But Matthew
Oh,
Barry. He's a great actor. I've seen him. I think we talked about it the last time. I think I talked about this actually last time as well. So I might cut it out. I don't know, but I really like him. He was in that Vampire Werewolf. We're not swear wolves. We're werewolves. What we do in the
What We Do
night.
in the Shadows.
Yeah, yeah,
The show, right?
yeah. Well, yeah, I think he's in the movie.
I don't know what it is. It's that's directed by Taika Waititi and has the guy from the Flight of the Concords, and I can't think of his name right now,
I
but
think this
it's
is deja vu for me, man. I think we talked about this last time.
we definitely didn't.
Hmm.
Trust me, I watch all of our episodes like 49 times.
But you're
Uh,
editing them.
yeah, and you never watch them again after you experience them. Since you're watching boring British stuff, I'm watching really exciting and fun things like Piranha Double D. Um, I ended up getting the Stars subscription through Amazon Prime because of Spider-Man: Far From Home. I wanted to let my kids watch that, and as I was perusing movies to fall asleep to, I stumbled across Piranha Double D, which I had seen before, which is the sequel to Piranha 3D. and I've seen both of the movies before. As a matter of fact, I think I probably saw them in theater because I'm kind of a horror hound. I like watching just doofy or really good horror movies. I like all manners of horror. But this falls into just the absolute dog shittiest of dog shit territory of film I've ever seen. Um, as you were talking about that movie last week, it was something about the monster that kills busty women or whatever the case is.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about
Yeah, that
you
Indonesian
guys
film.
you guys like watching trashy horror movies. This falls into that camp, but it's not even so bad it's good. It's so bad it's just bad.
Bad. Oh.
It feels like, for instance, your film last week, it was like a 60s film where people just didn't know any better and they had to make do with what they were given.
Yeah, low
This
budgets. It's. I'll tell you what, though. I think they killed some animals, like legit on
Oh,
screen.
I'm
Like
sure. I'm
we're
sure they did. They used to do that
overseas.
all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
In
that's
this one, I'm pretty
unnerving.
sure no animals were harmed because it's at pretty much every turn they were just throwing like rubber fish at people, and they never looked anything better than rubber fish. Like at one point, like there a fish, it shows a fish jump out of the water, and then it like flies at a girl's face, and then she's running with this like like it's
They just gave up. They're
clearly
like,
just
fuck
her
it.
holding it onto her eye. And this movie was only made like 5 6 years ago or something in that ballpark. It's atrocious. I mean, it's like
What did you think of Eight Legged Freaks?
I, I saw that movie in theaters when it first released, and I would say that that came out in 2003,
I don't know.
maybe
That's funny.
2004, and I loved it when I saw
Yeah.
it. I have never gone back to it, but it was effective because I'm terrified of spiders.
Did
But
you?
let me rank Piranha Double D real quick. It's garbage.
Garbage.
It's maybe worse than garbage. It's probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I just want to tell you this part. It has David Kushner, I think his name is, which is what's it, Whammy off of Anchorman. I don't remember his actual name, but he's the guy that says Whammy, and he's Michael's friend in The Office.
Yeah.
Uh, Anyway, he plays the dirtbag. He's opening a water park, and the piranhas get into the water park and eat people. And you're like, "Hey, just get out of the pool, and you're done." And the movie would be over. But nah, they're like, "Oh no, I can't leave." But there's a scene where he jumps into a. Okay, let me start at the beginning of this scene. The piranhas have come into the water park, so he wants to get the money and run. So he runs into his office, and he grabs this little lock box of money, which this is one day's water park funds because it was their grand opening. So inside this box is maybe a couple $1,000s. Okay, so he's going to escape with this money. And he walks outside and he sees this little girl crying over the half eaten body of her mother. And so he's like, I'm so sorry. And he takes a handful of money out and he hands it to her. They're like 3 bills and he hands it to her. And then she's still crying, but she picks up one of the bills and holds it up, and it's a $1 bill, which it's not played as a joke. It's not supposed to be funny. He's like, I'm sorry your mom died, and gives her a handful of cash, so it's supposed to be a lot of money. One of those bills is a single dollar. So at most she got $201 for the death of her mother. But anyway, so he jumps in his little golf cart and he's quickly trying to take it out, right? Or just take off. And he slams on the gas and he's driving away and he's looking right in front of him, and across like like neck high is one of those like strings with the flags on it, like
Mm-hmm.
parking lot flags. And he goes, like, he sees it as he's driving up, and he goes, and then he just drives through it and it slices his head off. So he's going like 5 miles per hour, and it just goes right through his head, and then his head flies through the air, and it lands in this other woman's hands, and then she freaks out, and she throws it into the pool, and then the piranhas eat his
Yeah.
face. Again, that part right there is played for schlock, and if they had done the entire movie that schlocky, then it could have been a fun time.
I'm gonna have to look that up. Schlock.
Yeah, you're talking like the movie you watched last week would have been probably considered schlock because it's just they know it's campy, they know it's funny, and they're just trying to lean in. Sometimes schlock movies are made by accident because they're making a movie they intend to be serious, but then they realize like halfway through, oh, this isn't working, so let's just lean into the goofiness, like Zork or I don't know, an American Werewolf in London. I think that's a remake, so I'm talking about the actual remake from the early 2000s or late 90s, or American Werewolf in Paris. It's one of those two. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name, but it has the guy that was the drummer in the movie That Thing You Do. Um, but in the grand scheme of things, this movie just irritated the shit out of me. I think it had one of the worst and most infuriating scenes I've ever seen in a movie, where there's two women sitting on a dock, and the piranhas have just been born, or unleashed or whatever, and one of them has her feet in the water, so it's trying to play it up for scares, but it's not scary in the least. And then it kind of comes up and nibbles on her leg, and so she's like, oh no, something bit me, and she pulls her feet out, and then the piranha starts slamming their body into the bottom of the dock, so the boards are just like flying up, and they're trying to run off the dock, and then she slips and she falls into the water, and then she gets out of the water, and then the dock breaks and the half of it starts to float away, and she just has to jump a gap that's literally this distance, but she's too scared to jump because she might fall in the water. So then she tries to jump, and they both fall in the water, and then they both get out of the water. And it's just like, just move on. It was so bad. A piranha swims up a girl's business and then bites a guy's penis off at one point in the movie.
Because it's still inside of
Yeah,
her
yeah.
vagina? Why does
And
his penis get near that?
well, he doesn't know it's inside of her.
And she's dead?
No, she's alive.
How does she know that's inside of her? Or
She
she
doesn't.
doesn't?
She says, "Hey, let's hook up." So then they start hooking up, and then he's like, "Oh no,
How
uh,
loose is this lady's vagina?
I don't know. It's a small one, but it bites. It shows it attached to his penis, and then he cuts his own penis off instead of just stabbing the fish. I don't know, man.
Okay, so
I don't.
schlock is trash from 1955 from 1915 from American Yiddish schlock, from German schlacke, Dreckskunddros, derived from Schlockmeister, the purveyor of cheap merchandise. So, I don't know. I learned something new. That's crazy. Schlock. I've never heard it before. Yeah, also, people pronounce it schlag. So,
Yeah, I've never heard that. It is
SLAG, which is schlock.
eight-legged freaks is probably considered schlock. Like it is. They they went into it either. I think in that instance they knew they didn't have a big budget. Like the
Yeah.
animation movie is terrible. Um, but they took a fun story, and that's what I think the difference was. Is I think they had a story for a movie like Eight-Legged Freaks, and just not the budget. And they were able to spin that into a relatively entertaining movie. For instance, like the movie Evolve. Have you ever seen Evolve?
Yes. I thought it was
That
good.
is,
I like it.
I agree. I think
Watched
they
it
had a.
twice.
I've seen that movie probably a dozen times
It's
because I think
funny.
it's literally a funny movie. I really
Yeah.
liked Orlando Jones, and David Duchovny's perfect in that role, and then Julianne Moore is really good in that role. But again, they had a good story. It's basically Ghostbusters but with an alien infestation.
Yeah,
Is kind of,
meteorite thing.
yeah, like a goofy Ghostbusters. Um, I'd say it's not scary in the least, but it's got a couple of interesting character designs. So yeah, those are schlocky movies, but they know what they are, and they're like, hey, I want to make this serious movie, and then they're like, well, the budget's not quite there. Okay, instead let's make it a little bit of a horror comedy, kind of like maybe Slither. That's another one that I would say
I don't
that
know. That
Slither's
one
not so
freaks me
much
out a little bit.
Slither's not so much schlock as much as it is. Um, I think the director had that whole idea in mind, and I think it went exactly how he wanted it to. Do you have a favorite game of all time to add for this week, or do you want me to go first while you think about it?
No, I
You
had one, but now I can't think of it. Last time I said Warzone 2100. I've done Warcraft 3.
Chex
Um,
Quest.
Chex Quest was definitely up in there.
I'm
Did I
keeping
did I?
track.
I don't think I've ever mentioned Heroes of Might and Magic, and I really want to.
You have not.
I know
This
it.
is what you have so far because I'm
Can I
keeping
do the
track.
whole thing, or just the genre, or can
You
it
have
has?
you have to pick one. Chex Quest, Sins of a Solar Empire, Warcraft 3, Warzone 2100.
Yep.
I'll let you think about it for a second while
No,
I
I'm
go
gonna
in.
do Heroes of Might and Magic 3, the
Oh, okay.
original OG. Not the HD version because it pisses me off because it doesn't have all the expansions in it, even though you pay premium dollar for a rehash title that is
Hey,
missing
John, real
some of the.
quick.
Yo,
If I was a betting man, I'd say in all of your predictability, this is a PC game.
yeah, I think it was out on PlayStation
Yeah, you definitely
2.
didn't play it there though.
No, I didn't.
All
I
right.
think.
So go into what it is and why is it one of your favorite games of all
Okay, so
time?
it's a turn-based strategy game. You have a hero who's generally on a mount of some sort, especially on the later editions, and you have a castle or a town that you purchase buildings in there that give you different resources or troops. You collect mineral resources on the map. There are other kingdoms and other neutral armies and monsters that are on the field of play. When you go into like every hero or you as your kingdom have different heroes, but you have take your turn. Next is the next player's turn, and then it goes all the way around to you until the whole day is complete, and then you start the next day, and then your turn comes up again. When you go into combat, it doesn't matter if you have 150 troops or 2 troops; they all comprise one unit, and they can die when that unit engages other units. Um, it's fantasy based. It makes you think strategy wise, and I have been playing this genre of game and this franchise of game since it was New World Computing in 3DO. It's currently owned by Ubisoft. They have done some controversial things with the game, taking it up and down, and I mean, like, it is what it is, but it is a great game. It is a game that well, actually, no, that was the second one where my dad would wake me up at like 5:30 in the morning after I got done with the bender, and I would be woken up to hobbits screaming as wolves were tearing them
Back when he
apart.
was 12.
No, this is yeah, benders when I was 12. Um,
Good job,
anyhow,
Mark.
so like it has really cool aspects. There are artifacts which can elevate the game's like intensity. If you can get those artifacts to your hero in certain orders, they can make like the necromancer OP. It's totally OP because you can kill something, and the more necromancy skill you have, coupled with this necromancer armor, you can, instead of raising skeletons, you can raise vampires and ghost dragons and bone dragons, and so it literally you can just destroy things, easy peasy. So
Lemon squeezy.
it's a fun game. I know I don't give it justice by any measure from my explanation. It seems like all over the place, but they're just the dynamic, the balancing of the game, because you can have 2 different races and they have hatred for each other. So like Haven, which has angels as its top tier creature, they hate the demonics because the top tier creature is the demons. The wizards, um, their top tier creature is the Titan or Colossus, and its hatred is for um, the Drow, the dungeon people, because they have black dragons, and so they have like this tit for tat. There's balancing that tries to happen in that. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it does sound like, again, like a game that's right up your alley. I think that it would be something that you would enjoy. I've always had a hard time getting into games like that, but it doesn't take away from the fact that it's, obviously just not a game for me, just like my game is not going to be a game for you. I'm going to go with Saints Row 2 for the Xbox 360, whenever that game came out. Um, it's pretty much very basic. It's a Grand Theft Auto ripoff. I do love the Grand Theft Auto games, but I think they take themselves weirdly too serious. I understand that they have a good sense of humor, but overall, I always preferred, or I'm sorry, I'm going to say always, but I do mean in the first uh, Saints Row and Saints Row 2, I think they took themselves appropriately silly, and basically you just start out in a gang known as the Saints, and your goal is to take over the entire city by defeating rival gangs. Um, Somehow, the second one specifically, and again, I want to say this game came out, I want to say 2007 was maybe when Saints Row 2 came out. Um, are you checking it?
Yeah, I'm loading up Steam because I bought this because it's compatible on Linux, and I was like, man, James should play this game with me.
Well,
I,
if we're getting into the third, I would definitely give it a shot. 2008 is whenever Saints Row 2 came out, but the third just took it to a whole new world, and that was whenever I started falling off. I think I bought it and I was just instantly kind of disassociated because the first two take it's the first one is a blatant Grand Theft Auto ripoff, um, but it's just a little hammier. The second one gets even more so over the top in the sense that you have, gang heads, but each mission is very funny and very exciting in a way that it has you doing different things, different spins on what you would be doing in, again, a Grand Theft Auto game, but they just make it a little goofier. Like for instance, they might have you uh, go to like an anti-drug rally, but you smoked weed before you go, and you're supposed to um, like scare off the protesters, but again, you're high, so it like really over dramatizes the effects of something. So you're over there and you think you see aliens, so you start killing the aliens, but in reality, you're killing all the protesters.
Wow.
So it's just super over the top and goofy, but it keeps it grounded enough to make you care whenever a character dies or, you know, um, betrays you or something along those lines. The third one gets real weird in the sense that you like um, are that you're the president, I think, of the United States, and you're like
That's the
sky like the
fourth one,
first
isn't
mission.
it?
Maybe it is. I don't remember. It's just you start getting superpowers at one point, and then like one of the games takes place entirely inside of a computer simulation, which is a video game inside of a video game, and you're still the president, but you're trying to take back. I don't know. It got real, just real meta, real goofy. You're fighting with dildo bats and um, just real silly stuff. And that's again, I think that's part of its charm. But um, it had a lot more. Like the second one specifically had a lot more car customization. You can really make a really neat pimped out ride, and soundtrack was a lot more for me, a little hip hoppier, a little bit more fun than what some of the Grand Theft Autos were doing at that time. Again, a lot of them had like fantastic Grand Theft Autos had fantastic soundtracks, so I'm not taking away from that. But I think one of the big draws for me of the Xbox 360 was you could actually upload and, or I'm sorry, yeah, download music onto your 360 and you could play it while playing a game. So you could actually, I believe, pump it through like a car. So you'd get in a car and you'd hear music that you had loaded in to your system.
That's pretty
So
cool.
you could kind of make it whatever you wanted it to be. So I think that was just a really cool effort on their part. So I recognize that this is not probably a mainstream opinion, but I am trying to mix it up just a little bit. But I know I absolutely, before trophies and achievements were all of the craze, I was doing my best to do every single thing you could do in that game, in the sense I wanted to get all the collectibles, beat all the missions, um, collect as many cars as I could, upgrade them to the max level, etc., etc., etc. So if you did pick it up, I guarantee it would be a game that would be a lot of fun,
I
and
have
we would.
Saints Row 4 and Saints Row Gat Out of Hell.
Yeah,
Those are the two that I have.
it might be worth checking out. I just don't know. Like I said, I think I've bought Saints Row 3 or 4 a couple of different times, and for some reason, I just had a lot of trouble getting into it. Those are our favorite games, or stepping towards our favorite games. I think we both have five now. To do a quick recap, I mean, we still, to get to where I want to be, we want to get up to around 12. So we've got a little ways to go. But again, John has Chex Quest, Sins of a Solar Empire, Warcraft 3, Warzone 2100, Heroes of Might and Magic 3, all for the PC. I have, again, trying to be a little more diverse with my offerings, Mega Man 2 for the NES, Warhawk for the PS3, Bloodborne for the PS4, Tetris for the Nintendo, and Saints Row 2 for the Xbox 360 specifically. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 6 of the Nobody Entertainment Podcast. My name is Nobody James. This has been Nobody John. Give him the words of wisdom for the week, John.
Uh, Put your socks on before your shoes.